And when I come home, like Big said, sometimes I have to shed that before I can interact with my family because I don't want the communication to go left. I don't. And women do a better job of separating the outside life to the inside life, meaning outside the home and inside the home. I will give you that. It's hard because as a black man, we feel like we have so many things against us, and to come home and to see the kids in disarray and see the wife with an attitude, that just adds on to what we were dealing with outside. And I'm not saying that that's fair to you all. I'm not. I'm just saying we both need to have a better understanding of what goes on prior to that interaction. That's all I'm saying.
Good morning, good day. Welcome to the Get Established Show. Today's show is mommy the best option as a single parent, or can daddy hold it down? Today's going to be the discussion. We're going to see how it's going to go. We got some special guests in the room, and we're looking forward to chopping it up to see what happens. So, with that being said, welcome to the show. Chris, take it away.
Grand risings, and good morning to everybody this morning. Today is a nice show. Let's start with the introductions. One of our best hosts today, the man that knows everything, is Raymond Shine.
What it is.
Next over there, the grand wizard with all the economic business, my man, Garrett Big Williams.
In the house.
And the steward who likes to be informed with everything, my little brother, Derek D. Jones.
What up, y'all?
Be the question everything, Chris Chiller, A.K. Mr. Chiller again, Jones. And look, we got two phenomenal guests today. We got Alexis Devon, and we also got Terry Muhammad. So let's round of applause for them this morning.
Good morning.
Ladies.
Welcome, ladies. Welcome,
Good morning,
ladies.
ladies.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
All right. Let's get into this. This is about, is mommy the best option as a single parent, or can daddy hold it down? All right, now this is an interesting discussion that we're going to have here. Basically is just talking about whether or not is the father a viable option as a steward as well as mother, because we know that the mother is the custodial parent, most of the times. But we're gonna have our moderator, explain about how, which option may be best or may not be best. But we'll get right into it. Go ahead, Derek.
Hey, good day, everybody. I just want to welcome everyone again. Good morning, ladies, and good morning, fellas. Yeah, this is something near and dear to my heart. I've been in the child support system over 23 years. My oldest child is 23 years old, and my youngest child is 14. So this is something that I've seen over the years, just dealing with the child support system and men being a non-custodial parent in most cases. A few fun facts. In other countries, if the mom and father split, the child remains with the namesake, and in most cases, that's the man. It's a little different in the United States. In the U.S., it's to get full or joint custody. It can be difficult, even through the court, even though the courts say they don't discriminate against men. Even under questionable circumstances, courts believe the child is better off with the mom. Mothers are more likely to take time off if needed to stay home with the child. Child support is put in place to make sure that the child's needs are met. The core problem with child support laws is there's too much emphasis put on enforcement and not enough put on the fathers being involved in the child's lives. Few fun facts. So with those things being said, we're going to jump right into the questions. First question of the morning. Do single moms do a good job in allowing the father to put his imprint on the child's life? Why? Yeah, if yes or no, and explain why.
Good single mothers do. Mothers who want their fathers involved with their children Because when I was going through my separation and divorce, I wanted us to work out child support. We didn't have to go to court for child support, but because he decided he wasn't going to pay anything or assist with the kids' daycare, that we had to go to court. Ideally, you want both parents involved. You don't want to be a single parent and then not have the father involved in your children's relationship. So even with my ex-husband, when he wasn't paying, which was most of the time, I never blocked his access to his children. He was able to come to Virginia and see the kids. He was able to call and talk to the kids. They were able to call and talk to him because I understood that they still needed their father in their lives and they needed that relationship.
Hey, Terry, let me ask you this. What was the cause of him not being involved financially? What did he explain to you why he wasn't involved financially?
So the first time we separated, and I came to him and I said, okay, daycare is $800. We have twins. Daycare is $800 a month. And I still have to provide everything else for them. I was providing the insurance for all of us. What can you do? And he told me he could do nothing.
Wow.
And I said, so how do they go to daycare and I go to work? And I pay for us to live here and I do everything if you're not going to do anything. And he said, if you want child support, go get it. So that's what I did. And then he was upset that that's what I did. But if that's what you tell me to do, and your actions are showing me that you're not going to assist, then what am I supposed to do? So the day that we went to court, he came with a big envelope of all of his bills. And the judge said, Mr. Muhammad, what is that? I don't need that because we're going to do this calculation on what the law states is the amount that is needed to take care of the kids. So I think he thought that I knew his bills, and that's what I said. I know what bills you have, you know what bills I have. So we could work this out without going to court. And then I asked him, I was like, can you pay like, the judge ordered him.
Wow.
If you had come to me and just worked it out, you would have been paying half of what the judge ordered.
That's hard still.
For me, I have two situations. I honestly don't believe in child support. I don't like a man to be caught in that system. So I have a 14-year-old and a 2-year-old. And the 14-year-old father, he's always been present. We celebrate our daughter together. We agreed on an amount. We don't have child support. When he gets paid, it's in my account. And there's been months that I told him, don't give me anything. He pays me a month just to put it out there. I've given him the $380 back. Do what you need to do with it. The 2-year-old, her father has been absentee. So unfortunately, he is in the child support system. He ran for 2 years. She's 2 years old. He just started paying in August. So as a Black woman, I don't want a Black man to be in the system in any type of way. But as far as me, I am holding him accountable for this 2-year-old as though he's ran for 2 years. So I honestly don't believe in child support.
Right.
And go ahead, Ben.
I'm sorry. You don't believe in the system part of child support. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
You want people to be responsible for what they should be responsible for, but just not to have to go through that third party.
Yes, because we're grown. We didn't go to the third party to lay down and have these kids. So
hallelujah.
We are grown, and it should be able to be done. Me and my oldest daughter's father has been apart since she was 6 months old. We just celebrated her birthday together. He's having a new child. We all sat down at dinner yesterday together with his pregnant girlfriend. I'm grown.
Right. That's very adult-like. I mean, I wish more situations could work out like in the case of you and your oldest daughter, your oldest child, because that is the way. I mean, if the relationship can't work, we still got these children to raise.
Right.
You know? Go ahead, Derek. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, hey, that is phenomenal that you feel that way. I will say being in a child support system over 23 years is crazy. I remember when I went to court for my first child, my second child, um, and the judge assigned me to pay. And I remember saying to the judge, Your Honor, if I pay this amount, um, how will I be able to spend time with my child? Because I'm going to have to get a second job. And he told me to figure it out. And that's when I realized the odds were against me.
So when you say the odds were against you, what about the single mothers that have to get two jobs to take care of their children because the fathers aren't contributing? I
No,
work
no,
two
no,
jobs before
no.
too.
No, and I get that. I get that. But what I'm saying is the fathers that want to be a part of their child's life are being
Right.
punished because of those idiots that don't want to be a part of their child's life. So
Okay, but
there
the
should be
mothers that want the fathers involved, I'm still confused because if I have children that are in sports, like Naya played basketball, I wanted to go to her basketball games. I was working two jobs, so I
and
couldn't be present and be in at all of her activities either because I needed to take care of us.
so Terry, I will say this.
Yes, honey.
I I understand exactly what you're saying, but you are the custodial parent. And you do
Oh,
hold up. Let me finish. Let me finish.
okay.
And you get to see your child on a daily basis, whether it's for 5 minutes or for 5 hours. As the non-custodial parent, I have no rights. The only thing they require me to do is pay child support. So what I'm saying is, it's unfortunate that you went through what you went through. But my situation is, if my child's mom says I cannot see my child unless I go and spend more money that I don't have to get a lawyer to do to sit down with the court to get something in place, I'm ass out. I'm
So
ass
you
out.
didn't do
So
you didn't have
so
a custody agreement. You just
no,
had
no, no.
child
I eventually got one. I
support.
eventually got one, but I didn't. Child support will tell you quickly that is not our job to set that up. You have to go through the system to get that set up. So what I was getting ready to say is that's unfortunate that you went through that. I get that, and I hate that. I hate men that don't take care of their kids, that don't step up and be a father. But should all men be punished because of one's act? That's all I'm saying.
No, I think it's up to the situation. I understand as a black man being in the system is stressful anyway. Not using it as an excuse, but it's the woman you choose as well, you know, but you don't know in the midst of it. But I mean, I think it's used as a weapon
In
Well,
some cases. So Derek,
in
my
some
question is,
cases.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Lexi.
No, yeah, I'm agreeing with you. In some cases, it is.
So Derek, when you had your first child, you and that child's mother were not able to sit down and try to come to an agreement on child support,
no,
and you and the second
it,
child's
it
mother
was
neither?
my second child. And like I said before, it's unfortunate that men don't step up. I know a lot of men that are deadbeat dads, and I know a lot of men that are there from day one. So all I'm saying is there should be a better process put in place so the parent, the father that's not in the household is not punished because of these idiots that don't want to be fathers. Chilla, look like you have something to say. Go ahead, sir.
You just threw me out there in the woods, didn't
Cause you you're over there smiling, man. What's
No,
going on, man?
because this conversation is so hard to even talk about because the morals of the value goes to both people parties. I mean, you got to realize when you meet somebody, you don't really know that person until you about 5 to 6 years of meeting them because everybody put on this representative when you meet the person. So in the process of y'all having opening sex and ending up the baby, by the time you realize, okay, this guy dress good, smell good, or this woman do this and she look nice, but then you sat down and after you had that kid, you found out the representative gone, the person that you thought was this and that, or this man gonna take care of this child, or this girl gonna be a good mama, ain't the person you really thought you was having this child with. Because I mean, it's some good people, but the foundation starts with loyalty and love. I mean, I feel like when you got a person that you involved with and be with and have a baby and y'all really not accidentally but had a decision to have a baby, y'all should have a committed to each other how this thing gonna roll. No, just don't go into this thing having sex and knocking up each other, and then when y'all don't can't get along, the child suffers. And it's some daddies who are deadbeat that won't be there for the woman. Then it's some woman, she get mad because he going on to somebody else, and it's a sad situation. And the child is the one that's in the problem because the child didn't ask to be here. The two people who laid down together produced this child. So they should know what they were doing before they laid down. I look at it like this. If I messing with a woman, and I knocked this woman up accidentally.
Impregnate.
Is this the woman
He using
that
them
I want to
old
raise?
school hip hop term.
The street lingo.
Good, knock him out the box.
Yeah.
This is the woman that I value can raise my child and be the mother that my grandmama was, or the mother that, you know, I was raised as. Because I don't want no hoochie mama raising my child, smoking weed and talking ghetto and doing all this stuff and bringing other dudes into my house or her house, and me and her not getting together, because I feel like when I lay down and if I produce a seed, it's the woman I want to be with. But then you got women that don't even want to settle down. Now, I'm going to be real with y'all, because I don't know how long old Terry is, and I know my generation and I know y'all generations. Now, I came out of school, I'm going to say that we just say late 80s. A lot of young women were getting pregnant in the ghetto or projects.
Yeah,
And most of them, all they wanted was to get that welfare check. They didn't care about the baby daddy. They were messing with drug dealers, but they was getting knocked up. And I mean, they was getting happy to get these welfare checks or child support money for these kids. And this is real. This is not, I'm not fabricating this. I'm not making this up, but it was women. I'm telling you, it was a lot of women I had went to school with. And then I ain't talking about was raising a good family, having good values, you know, the family structure. But a lot of them had mamas who had a bunch of babies, didn't have a daddy in their life, and these same girls mimic what their mama did and had baby after baby after baby after baby, and they had no ties to their daddies, and all they was looking for was that check. So that's why I say it goes both ways. It got good women out here, get a side, and they got good men out here, get a side women. Now and then you will find two people that's good, that got that same morals, that will get together and they will put that into their child. If a man produce a child and he really loves that child, he gonna be in that child's life, because that's a value in him. That's an asset that he really wants to, I want to be in my child's life, and I'm gonna fight to make sure my child have the morals that my dad put in me or my grandma and this and that. But there's a lot of problems that we don't have morals in our life. We don't have love in our life. We don't have structures. We're looking at the media and all these TV shows and all these other people and art actors and rappers to mimic our life behind. Because, I mean, it's women out here breaking up and get another guy every season. It's dudes to do the same thing every season. But the problem is, what we having on this discussion is about child support. Now,
all right, hold up. Let's get back into the original question, because we're getting away from it. It wasn't about child support. It was about the father putting the imprint. Do we think the father is putting their imprint? The mom's allowing the father to put their imprint on a child's life. So we kind of getting away. All right,
get me back on track.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sum it up real quick. Some women will let a man be there for the input, but a child do needs a man structure in his life. He need both people. A lot of times the woman take on the role as the man, and the woman ends up being both of that, the father and the mother. And that's a sad situation.
Hey, Chris, let D kind of roll with it. We got you.
No, I got you, Raymond. Is there anything you wanted to input in the conversation before we move on to the next question?
No, I mean, I'll just say this. I agree with Lexi, what she said. Is like, you know, if both parents are mature enough to be able to work out something with each other and stick to it, then I think that it can, you know, they can make something work out, even if they're not going to be together.
Cool. Chris, you made some valid points, man. I must admit, you made me think about, especially when you broke it down about a man loving material things. If he really truly loves that woman and that child, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was something.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Next question. Do moms coddle their sons more than their girls? And do fathers nurture their daughters more than their sons? Once you answer, please explain why. Anyone?
Yeah. Those guys are overprotective with their daughters because they know how they were out in the streets, and they don't want no young man sneaking up being shiesty like they were. with their daughter. Because you were like, well, I was 12 and I know how I was, or 14 with this girl. Oh, and so you're more protected with your daughter. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times he harder on the mom, on the son, and then the mama come along. Let Charles, don't hit that boy, but he wants the boy to be tougher and rougher. So the mom sometimes cater to the son more. And some daddies are real protective when they love their child. I'm gonna say when they love their child. Some daddies can be overprotective with their daughters.
So let me ask you this, Chris. How do you think that impacts the child long term?
Well, if you're a real protective daddy and you take care of your daughter and you do a lot for your daughter always gonna look, most likely, most daughters will look for a man that got that same presented, as their daddy do. And it's just like if you got a good mama and the boy grows up and the mama take care of him, sometimes the boy looks for the same value in a young lady as the mama. But this what helps, it's kind of hard, man, because it's like, I can understand. I'm gonna tell you honestly, I don't like this conversation because I'm feeling the women, and then I got to feel you because it's like you in the middle trying to you playing both sides because you see both sides. This is this is an uncomfortable conversation.
Let me just say this. The whole point of this is to bridge the gap in understanding between men and women in our community. That's really what this show is about. As a man, we're gonna know how we feel, but I hear women all day talk about different things as far as their kids and the father of their children, but I really want to get a better understanding of where they're coming from, because a lot of times I'm hearing a lot of our women bashing our men, whether they deserve it or don't deserve it. I hear that, and I really want to get a better understanding because it's hard to talk to a Black woman that's upset about not getting financial support.
I'm off this conversation.
Go ahead.
Hey, look, not to jump over D, but let Big answer that question that you
go ahead, Big,
since he has a daughter.
Well, yes, I have a precious little angel. She's 21, and I have a very strong-willed young man that's 26 years old. My situation is a little different. When I met my wife, my son was 2 years old. And you hear me, I use the word son. I don't use the word step. I don't believe in that word. I think steps are things you walk on. They're not people in any regard. Step parent, any of that stuff. And that's just my view. So other people use it for different reasons, but I don't believe in that. But when it comes to girls, they need both parents, but they really need that man, the way that I see it and the way that I've seen. Looking at my upbringing, when I went back and just thought about all the females that I dealt with and some of the outcomes and some of the reactions in the relationships, and what I found through my personal research was that there were a lot of issues with the young ladies or the girls or the whatever that I was dealing with that didn't have father figures. It was totally different dealing with them than dealing with someone with a father. And I just think a father is not saying that women can't do it. It takes a very special woman to be able to raise a boy to make him a whole man. Very special. But what I found with females is that if their father was absent, there was a lack of respect dealing with the other gender. There was an inability to be cohesive with a man. And simply what I saw when I thought about it is that they didn't have a role. It wasn't role modeled for them because they saw their mom doing everything. They saw their mom, paying the bills, cleaning the house, watching, doing everything. And there wasn't a man there present. So it makes a difference in your makeup. If that's what you saw, then that's how you act. It's foreign. It's like a alien situation when a man comes in and you like the man, but you don't know how to deal with him. So I think daddy being present is extremely critical because it gives the balance of the male and the female part. And me and my daughter, we're extremely close. We've been close. I mean, just always. I mean, I used to love when she was little. If I was sitting down in the room, she would come in and just sit in my lap. She grab my arms and put them around her. You know, so we've always had a very, very. I mean, to this day, we're very, very close. But the imprint that that the father has for their daughter is something special because, like Chris said, it's important that she has something to look at when it comes to being out dating to compare it to what she like, what she don't like. But if daddy treats her good, then she know that a guy that she deals with, she wants to feel something similar to dad. So that's my piece on that.
I absolutely want you to say something, Miss Terry.
I think okay, so this is what I have to say about daddy being, my daddy was in the house, in the home. I grew up with a father in the home, but I grew up with an alcoholic father. And so I don't have that same, I feel like me and my daddy got closer as I grew older. But growing up, him being in the house, him being drunk, him and my mom arguing and fighting and fussing, did not give me the picture of my daddy's in the house, so everything's good. He's showing me how a man is supposed to treat me, because he did not. So I married an alcoholic. I didn't know he was an alcoholic in the beginning, but I soon found out that he was an alcoholic. So I don't know how I feel about that statement. Just with father being in the house, because he needs to be the father. He needs. I'm sorry, Lexi.
I agree.
Yeah, he doesn't. It's not just that he's in the home. Because Big, you're a very active father. You always have been. Love that. You're an active uncle. Naya, my daughter, loves her uncle. Big.
Oh, by the way, for the show, that's my sister. Go ahead, Terry.
He's a very active with Naya. I think Big. I mean, excuse me. I'm sorry.
You can say Big. He goes by Big. He goes by Big. Yeah.
I think Naya gravitates to him and my dad because those are the males in her lives. We were asking about coddling sons.
Yeah, let's get back to it. Yeah,
let's get back.
I got caught up.
I think when my son was a baby, I think I did probably coddle him because I felt like my husband gravitated to Naya. And I feel like he just, I don't know, that daddy girl, daughter, father relationship, he gravitated to Naya more. And so I felt like that left Nafis. Excuse me, am I supposed to say their name? That's okay. I feel like that's
fine. That's fine.
I mean, everybody.
If we need to blip it out, we'll blip it out.
Yeah. Okay. I felt like that left him out, just not having that same interaction. So I think as a child, as a maybe until he was about 4 or 5, I felt like maybe I did coddle him a little bit more. But then I realized within myself that if I was going to do this thing on my own, I didn't want him to be, I'm not going to say a mama's boy because he was for a long time anyway, but Naya was a mama's girl. So I think because I was the only parent, I had a mama's boy and a mama's girl because I was just the only parent there. So, but I do think sometimes as mothers, we do coddle our sons.
That's a great. I mean, I'm loving the transparency.
Yes.
That is awesome. Go ahead, Big. What were you gonna say? I want to get to Alexis though. I do want her to chime in.
We're gonna let her chime in. But, what I was gonna say that growing up, me and Terry, we just barely 2 years apart, so we were almost like in the growing up stage, kind of like twins in a sense. And one thing about our upbringing, like I told y'all, I mean, me and the fellas have had conversations, and my dad, he was a worker. He wasn't real active in the house with the the family stuff. But for me, I'm the male. My mom was always there. She was always at everything, did everything. And as a child, I could even see how it impacted my sister more than it impacted me. I didn't care as much. I had a lot of male role models around. Not saying I didn't care that he wasn't early on, wasn't at my sporting events and things of that nature. Not that I didn't care, but I could see it affecting her more even as a child. Because I remember being at, and I ain't trying to, Lord, please, we ain't gonna go down this road. But I'm saying I remember being
just keep it short. Bro.
I got you. This is important because people that watch this gonna understand when they see things in their child, they need to see and need to figure out a way to correct it. So as a child, I remember my mom doing the birthday parties and doing these things and doing that. And the only thing.
Don't do it. I can't. I need tissue. Are you talking about my birthday party?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay.
No. The only thing out of all the presents and all the people that she wanted to be there was my dad. And he missed a ton of them.
That was my 7th birthday party. I will never forget that.
At McDonald's. I remember that one.
That's all I wanted.
He was turning, I thought you were turning 8, but if she was turning 7, I was 5 or 6, and I noticed it. And as me being her brother is nothing I could do about it because I had no input, but I knew it hurt her. And then I was being, you that young, I knew that's what it was. So I tried to make light of it. It didn't help. I was trying to ease it, but I think I may even made it worse. So next question.
No, it can't be a next question. I need somebody else to jump into this.
What I was going to say is the basis of all of our conversation is basically relationships and 2 people willing to do the work. My dad was in the house. My dad's a hard-working man. I don't date anyone who doesn't work or who's a bum. But the emotional side of things is not there. And I tend to date men who are insensitive and don't have that emotional connection. So I think as people, when it comes to mother-daughter, father-son, it's relationships. It's people wanting to do the work, wanting to love, wanting to humble themselves to love. So it's deeper. I don't think it's just this blanketed statement. As big with Sharon and Terry, we're all just grown-up children. Everything from our childhood affects us. So that is kind of what's going on with parenting and other things. So I think the world is turning with technology and everything. I'm old school. I'm 38 though. I'm probably the youngest up on this podcast. But
you are.
I'm I am old school and I miss it. I'm nostalgic. So I'm all about the relationship aspect of things. I think people are numb. That's just what it is. People are numb in this world now. Don't nobody want to feel that emotion.
So Sean, what do you have to add to this?
Mm-hmm.
I know you and your mom have a tight bond.
I mean, I like I told you, I'll just briefly touch on it because I don't want to go too long, man. Like I said, with my mom, she just expresses her feelings through just what she does. She doesn't say, I love you, and or all that other type of stuff that that you would think that a mom would do. But I understand her way because she doesn't know how to really express herself that way. She just told she told me that well, when I was growing up, my mother always just said, just listen, don't talk over grown folks or whatever. And that just rolled over in all her life. So that's how she is. But our relationship, I think I'm of the males, I'm the closest one to her. And it's. I mean, it's just. I mean, it's a. It's. I mean, it's a. I mean, I guess it's just. It's a. We're good as far as just being able to interact. But like I said, the emotional side. That's what we deal with. That's the struggle.
Let me just
And
say this
for
before.
everyone.
Let me just say this before I go into my spiel. Thank you, ladies. Y'all definitely open my eyes to different aspects of these relationships. I promise you, this has been a lot of healing for me just in these first few minutes of this. No, seriously, seriously. Chris didn't go into it, but we were raised a little different. We weren't necessarily raised with both our parents in the household 24/7. We're grandparent babies. Chris was with my dad's mom and dad, and I was with my mom's mom and dad. Well, stepdad. Um, so it's a little different. I struggle with a relationship with my mom even to today. I wasn't coddled. I was treated like in my mind and on the street sometimes. uh, so being raised by somebody from another generation was tough because I was being raised like a kid in the late 50s and in the early 60s. So a lot of things that kids my age were doing, I wasn't allowed to do. I felt like I was being punished in certain situations, and I felt like I was being treated when my grandfather died as the man of the house in certain situations. And I don't think that necessarily was fair to me. I didn't really have the childhood that most of my friends had. Um, the person that I looked up to as a male figure in my life was a child also. I looked up to my brother and I learned a lot from him. That wasn't fair to him that I leaned on him as much as I did um, as a male figure. My dad worked, if there were 24 hours in a day, he worked 32. That's just what it was. And he was a good man. I have nothing negative to say about my father. It's just that uh, I guess he felt like he needed to make sure that he provided for us. So he needed to make sure he was making money. My mom, she had kids after she divorced my father. She was more concerned about her life than us. And I'm just going to put it like that. Not saying that she didn't love us. I think she did. And I think she loved us the only way she knew how. Based on how she was raised, she was put on a pedestal. Um, and I think that created a bit of selfishness as in her as she grew older. So we suffered because of that. So hearing you ladies break that down, that I needed to hear that. I just wanted
Have
to.
you talked to your mom? Have you had like a conversation, or everything that you just said is an assumption or your feeling?
No. I've spoken to my mom.
Like Derek said, we did grow up different, and my mom played a valuable part on me. And like Derek did look up to me, and I set my tone of doing certain things to young women when I felt like I needed to be a player is because of my mom. Because my mom never called me on my birthdays. My mom never told me she loved me. My mom, and all I had was my grandma. So that was the thing I held up to be my queen in my life. But my mom was a reflection because when I was little, I always used to feel why my mom don't love me. And when all the kids in school always talk about my mom, all I could say was my grandma. Where your mom at? And it's so embarrassing because you see all these kids so building up their mom and throwing their mom, my mom this, my mom that. And I'm like numb to my mom because I didn't have my mom in my life. And it hurt. It really hurt. So when you start, meeting girls, you feel like it was a part of me still hurt because I felt like my mom didn't love me, whether the girl gonna love me. So I went on that road. I love you, and it just I love whatever, and I try to be the worst dog of it all. But and then the bad thing about it, because I had cousins I looked up to, and that's how they were. But the only thing that kept me humble was my grandmama, because she always wanted me to be a gentleman. So now I'm in a dilemma. I'm like two-faced. Part of me good, part of me bad. In front of my grandmama, I'm real respectful. But then I'm in the street, I'm the Tasmanian devil. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, all the young dudes were acting the same way. And to fit in around lions, you had to become a lion or an animal. But when you around people, you acting civil again. So it's like You wanted to be hard in the street, but at the same time, when you're around your elderlies, you wanted to be respectful. So I got to see both worlds. But my mom played a big part in how we felt. I think me and her, how we felt about women, because her not being in our life like a mother nursing that kid, it kind of affected me, and I know it affected my brother. And sometimes this would even made it worse to me. She used to do more for Dirk than she did for me. I remember like one Christmas, like Bid was talking about her birthday. One Christmas, my dad bought Dirk a tie. My mom bought Dirk a tie. My dad bought Dirk a bunch of video games. My mom bought Dirk a bunch of video games. She bought Dirk like a 10-speed, a boom box, a TV. I might be, it was a whole lot of stuff. And when I got there to my grandmama's house, I'm like, well, dang, Dirk was so happy. And I'm happy for my brother, but at the same time, like, what my mom get me? My grandma went in the back because my grandma always would give me a sweater or something. And I knew it was her gift. She went back there and took one of her gifts she gave me and put my mom's name on it. And you talking about something that hurt me. And we were little, but I won't mad at my brother. But the hurt of a woman like that, wanting to know why your mama don't love you, it kind of affects you. So it do, like in relationships, the only thing I could build my relationship was on my grandmama. My grandmama was the foundation of what a woman was to me. And when I was looking for a relationship and try to, like when I wanted to be loved, I had to find somebody that had the same thing as my grandmama and them. If that woman ain't how my grandmama was happening, like the way she was to me, because like me and Dirk, we grew up strict. At the beginning, when I was younger, it was the same thing. My grandmama raised me. So she didn't raise me as a mama in the 70s would raise their kids in the 80s. I was raised like I was back in the 50s too. You know what I'm saying? Turn that devil's eye off the TV. You going to church, boy. If you ain't going to church, you ain't going out all week. I didn't go out all week. And then when like Dirk said you get freedom, because I got old enough, 12 or 13, I was but wow. Because we were so restricted so hard that they overprotected us, that it made me more aggressive going out here in these streets. But I mean, I ain't want to talk everybody a hole in the head, but I only think I'm reflecting on what Dirk basically saying. So it did play a part of me. But my grandmama is what, in the sense that what I'm saying is my grandmama is what I always look as a woman should be.
Wow.
Because that's the only woman that, you know, instill anything in me. Because my mom, and I look at it like this, and I'm gonna cut it off. I always looked at it, my mom raised me in Dirk. And I always value my life on this. 9 times out of 10, I probably would be in penitentiary right now because she didn't put no morals, no values, or nothing in our life. It's a possibility me and Dirk could be dead in the garbage can because her mental state couldn't raise both of us at that time. I don't know. I feel like God put us in the situations and the places we needed to be raised. And I thank God for that because we had 2 phenomenal grandmamas who raised us.
And let me just say this, Alexis. Back to the
And
question
that's
that
it.
you asked.
Did I break up? Y'all couldn't hear me.
No, we heard you. We heard you. Let me just say this to answer the question that you asked. Yes, I've had conversations with my mom, and I think at an older age, she's realizing it now because she's making sure that she's involved in her grandkids' lives, and I appreciate that. I really do.
That's good.
I just wanted to say, can I say something about going back on what listening to Chris? I have realized that to me, the male that I have always looked up to is my grandfather, because my grandfather was what my daddy wasn't. So the person that was always around, even when Big was playing sports, my granddaddy would come up to the baseball field
in a
and
suit.
Yes, James Edward would do it right. Okay. But he was my protector. He was my nurturer. He was my granddaddy. And I can appreciate the fact that the relationship that my father has with my kids, my daughter adores her granddaddy. And I look back and I see how much he means to her as she's been growing up, because until we moved, you know, he was a constant in her life. And so, but it made me realize, and I think I always kind of balance or try to figure out if this man kind of makes me feel like my granddaddy. when I'm dating.
Mm.
Just yeah. So with the people that I date, I always see some quality of my grandfather in them, except for the husband.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
You know, one thing to piggyback, and I know we have just opened this conversation.
Yeah. It's fine. It's some good. It's some good information,
but I think the opening is valuable. I think the things that we're talking about is a lot of people that are dealing with these situations.
When I was in Atlanta, when he just told me all my life, and I didn't really get to know my mom until I like about 21 when I got down to Atlanta with her, and me and her together, but we were drinking, and it's like I guess she felt guilty, and all my life I want to know, why would you give me up? She said, I looked at you one day when you were little, and I was looking for you, and you was like 2 years old, and she was like, you came to like the corner, and you looked both ways across the street and went across the street and got something, and you looked both ways and came back, and I never even told you to do something like that. And she was like, I knew right then that you was a kid that I didn't have to worry about, because you was always watching and say you was strong. And she was like, Derek to me wasn't. She was like, she needed to give Derek a little more attention than she needed to give me.
Exactly what.
And that's how she said it. And I'm like, I'm kind of blown away, because I'm like, how in the world can you say a 2-year-old child?
Right.
You can just look at gonna say what he need for the rest of his life. He don't need you. But that was after that. Honestly, I waited for so many years to hear why, and that was her why. Like a voice, like God said, let it go. And I never looked at her different from that point. And all the anger and frustration I had in my life over that time was gone. And to the day, I never look at her as a mom, because when I got to know her, she was like a big sister. Because it's like, I can tell Derek, we can't look at her like a mom, because it was like, she was just, because she always listened to hip hop. She always did what we did. It was like big sister. That's all I could say.
Yeah, man.
That honestly, because you know how I get these guys. I know that Terry know, but Lex, these guys are like my brothers. I got a band of brothers that I grew up around, and all of them are still around. But I get protective over everybody in these certain situations. So for me, talking and not knowing the insight, when we said we were, there was a lot going on, but we were having that conversation, it kind of, in a strange way, made me understand that she made the right decision by letting them go with their grandparents.
But to make a full circle point back to what we were beginning to talk to, it's important the relationships you build and who you sleep with. Because you see, when you guys were born, parenting is so important. You know, like that's what it is. You know, child support is a factor and all, but I think the biggest thing we can take away from this is the relationships you build and the people you choose. But you also got to heal the hurt, because all of us are hurt. All of us have been hurt, you know, like all of us. So I just think that's important. You can avoid child support and all these other things if you're able to communicate and have these open conversations and relationships amongst each other. You know, I just think it's a lot of hurt in our culture in general.
Great. Now I'm going to scratch a question. I had a question based on child support. Is a woman more likely to place the man on child support versus a man placing the woman on child support? But we're not even.
Hold up. That's a good question. How these two women. I want to know that myself. Now, I mean, Derek might know. Just quick brush up on that. Do you think a woman will run out there in a heartbeat to get child support, but if a man had the opportunity to do it, do you think they would do
it? It's situational, and I think it's
what's the financial situation? I think it's situational. That's what I think as well, Lex. Because ideally, even though he was making more money than me, my plan was not to put him on child support. My plan was for us to work it out. So I can't say, because I didn't run out. That was not my first choice.
So let me ask you this. Do you think, and I know I pretty much get a feel for where you women are coming from as far as child support, and this is a question for the women, gentlemen. Do you think in some cases child support is put on the man basically off of emotional, meaning that the mom is upset that the man isn't with her in the household with her and he's moved on, and that's a way to punish the man.
I feel like present day, yes, it's weaponized. And there are some women who do it. But I mean, to their defense, I don't know. I mean, again, it's situational. I think as women anyway, we give a lot of chances. I do. Emotionally. We don't know. You don't know what kind of hurt she went through during the relationship. Do you understand what I'm saying? The cheating, the hitting, regardless. So I think as women, I think that's not our first to go to. Yeah, it's emotional decision, but it's some emotional hurt behind that emotional decision. So as a women, we give chances, period. We don't just go, first thing, I'm going to go get child support. That doesn't happen. There has to have been some other things surrounding that decision.
That's fair.
I think that doesn't happen with there are some women that their first thought, Alexis, is, I'm going to go and get him on child support. I don't believe that that's not some women. Maybe not my situation or your situation, but there are some that are just hurt. And because they're hurt, they're going to hurt.
Right.
I got a question for the men. The women can chime in, no problem. I think the men will understand this question a little bit better and be able to answer this question. Why do you think, because I heard Terry and Alexis allude to this earlier, why do you think that men don't show the level of sensitivity it takes a lot of times in the household? And I know that doesn't include you, Big. I understand that you're very connected to your daughter, but
hey, brother
and son.
But let me say why that is, though. That was a lesson I learned from the things that I saw. I'm a student. I'm one of those people that learn from other people's mistakes and try to better my future. So that's why I imprinted the way that I am, along with the way my mom raised me, and just some of the men that were able to mentor me that didn't even know they were mentoring me. But go ahead. Sorry, brother.
Yeah, just showing that level of emotion and sensitivity it takes to raise kids. I will admit, I had to be different with my son than my daughter. I had to, because the world is different to black men than they are black women. We both struggle in this world, but the world handles us differently. I see it in the workplace. I saw it in school. I just see it out just being in the public. They handle us differently. So yeah, I do raise my kids. I love them the same. I raise them different. That's just what it is. I
was harder.
What now?
I was harder on my son.
Absolutely. And I'm going through that right now.
Mm-hmm. Mom don't.
Are y'all answering the question?
No.
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
Well, Big,
ask the question
ahead.
About the sensitivity, but I know that I was harder on my son. My daughter would. I mean, this is the thing. Regardless of gender, the children are going to be different. But your black son is going to have to deal with some things your black daughter ain't going to have to deal with. So it's dad's responsibility to make sure everybody got what they need. They both have their own individual toolboxes. So you can be sensitive on both sides and you can be strict on both sides. But I think you have to teach each one differently.
Raymond, you sound like you want to chime in. Go ahead, sir.
I mean, I know that I'm trying to. The question was, why do fathers?
Why are men less sensitive and less emotional when in the household with their kids?
Well, I mean, I guess if I could say as far as how I grew up, I mean, I think it's about how you deal with your work environment, like your work you out there, you scrambling trying to get this money, trying to do what you can to build a household, and then you come home, you tired, that's if you work physically, you tired, the stress of that stuff coming, you can't leave that at the door and come in and be that father, because because you're dealing with that stress of that, whatever it is with that. I mean, as far as my bit of experience in that is that, I mean, it just depends on how the environment in the household is when you come in. That kind of determines how you feel. If you come home and it's like it's stuff all over the place, kids running around acting crazy. You like, hey, just kind of chill out, whatever, and trying to kind of calm down because I just need to decompress or whatever. If you know what I'm saying, it just it just depends on how that atmosphere is when you come in that household. So
Is that an excuse? Or is
No.
that
I mean, no, it's not so much an excuse. It's I mean, just a vibe. I mean, because everybody, like, when you go into a place and you feel that atmosphere in there, you are going to either take to that or you're going to feel negative about it. I mean, have you? I mean, I'll just say, have you went into a place where you like, everything's like this, that, and you just like, well, it's just kind of.
I think as
off.
moms, as mothers, we can't do that.
Right.
Like as females, we
That's
can't
what I
do
was
that.
gonna
Like we can't do that. We got to overcome that.
Yes.
We
But you know
we
what?
deal with chaos every day.
That's honest.
We deal with chaos every day, workplace, all of that. We can't come home and be like, we can't do that. We just because it wouldn't function.
Right.
You know what? I'm looking at this on two different times because, like, when Derek asked that question, if I go back to like a certain time, women stayed at the house and housewives. So their whole job was cleaning and nurturing the kids, while the dad were out working all the time. And then the connection with the kids was always the mom. A lot of dads never really had connection to the kids like that. Is because they wasn't there involved in the times with their kids unless it was weekends or going to the church. A lot of dads never connected with them like the mom connected with them. And then even certain fathers, even when you growing up, you never really see your dad cry. You see the mama more, emotional. The dad always this stern, hard, strong person when we was younger. Even your granddaddy was strong in certain ways. And we always looked at that. But I think culture, with the way the way culture is, plays a part to then to now. Because now at a certain time when time changed, women had to get out and start working. So now some women's not even connected to the kids. The teachers are more connected to the kids than the women's are. Because it's women now, and then it switched the roles and switched totally with younger women younger than all us. Because the women are working while the kid guy at home eating up the Pop Tarts and the food and playing video.
That's another issue.
Yeah, that's a whole another subject, brother.
We ain't gonna open up that.
We ain't gonna get into that, but I'm just saying. I'm just showing you how times done changed. Over time, the situations done changed all around. So it's like this whole like if we were to have this conversation 20 years from now, it'd be a totally different conversation.
Definitely.
But
the
thing is, we also getting numb to these kids. It's the way America is. Your kid is something you should want to do better as a father. You want your child to do better than you did. Even if your mother, you want your child to have the best, even as a good wife or whatever. We should always look for our kids to perceive way better than we did and try to invest what we know to our best abilities to raise these kids what we got in us. So they don't have to go through the mistakes that we have or take the downfalls that we took or take the heartaches we taught. We need to give them more advice. And some of us are not giving our children the best advice. Some of us don't even talk to our kids and be in our kids. I'm a sidebar. What's going on in Portsmouth and around here right now? Like this little shooting war. You should know what's in your child's room. You should know what's in your child's house. Now a lot of parents get these child's privacy and don't investigate what's really their child involved and who they're involved with and their friends. My grandmama, like Derek said, she knew my friends. She wanted to see them or who I was with. She wanted to know what type, birds of the feather flock together. I had to get 12 or 13 to push away from what. Younger than that, my grandma needed to know every friend, their mama, everything. She needed to know how they were because that was a reflection of me, who I was involved with, and their parents and everything.
Chris, 12 or 13 is still really young.
Hey man, I had to buck something.
You know, but to jump back in, I gotta agree with Raymond, because I think there was times where I would walk in the house and feel that same thing Raymond was talking about. You come in the house and it's just seems like everything is people hanging from the ceiling, and you like, I just need. It's almost like, I watch Cesar Millan, which is the dog whisperer.
Yeah.
If we could relate to each other in our relationships and understand the body language of people, we would be just so much better off. Because I remember this example. Now this ain't a husband wife, but this is I'm going sidebar, but it's okay. So I remember we had this. I came in one day, and Terry was at my house, and me and her got in this big argument, right? And when I sat back and realized what happened, I was in my do mode. I was still in my do mode. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't in my receiving mode. I was in my do mode. So when she asked me a question, I snapped, because I had been going. I came in, I was loading stuff in the fridge. I'm still in go mode. If I could have, if she would have asked me the question after I would have sat down and be like, my response would have been different. And the same situation has happened in my, with my marriage. I come in sometime and I'm like, as soon as I get in the door, I stand at the door and I may just, because, one of the rules in my house is like, use whatever light you want to use. But if you ain't using it, cut it off. I see these bills. I know what going to impact the bottom line when y'all want to go to King's Dominion or go to Jamaica or whatever. This is the stuff that impact whether we go in Jamaica first class or we going on a dinghy. We're going to have to rowboat across the ocean to get there. But they don't see that. See? So those are things that, this is, from a man's standpoint to handle finances. But if we could read each other's body language, it would change a lot of outcomes. And Raymond, I'm sure you understand. If you when you came in a couple times and it was crazy, if you could have had a moment just to switch worlds, because men, the way we don't operate in that. Women, y'all got this y'all can multitask phenomenally. Y'all can juggle the baby, kick the dog, still be cooking at the same time. We got switches.
That's good.
We got switches. So to be able to relate, and we both need to have to learn how to relate to each other. We both have to learn. We both got to be responsible in that. But honestly, if you can look at a man, you can tell what mode he in. You can tell, because we're simple. We are so simple. Y'all complicated. We're very simple.
Ooh, big. Hold on. Oh, ding, 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 ding. Oh,
look, let me say this. Oh, look. With them kicking the dog, shaking the baby, and cooking, that's complicated. Okay? That's complicated. It's hard to understand, when to jump in. Maybe that's why y'all do double jump so good. We jump one rope, y'all jump 5. But
let me just say this before we move on to the next question, the final question. That is, I will say that both parties need to think about the other party in the sense of, if you're coming in, what did that person deal with before they walk through those doors? Because that can affect how they interact in that moment. I know as a Black man, it's a lot of things that happen outside of this household during the day. A lot of interactions take place, good, bad, ugly. And when I come home, like Big said, sometimes I have to shed that before I can interact with my family, because I don't want the communication to go left. I don't. And women do a better job of separating the outside life to the inside life, meaning outside the home and inside the home. I will give you that. It's hard because as a Black man, we feel like we have so many things against us, and to come home and to see the kids in disarray and see the wife with an attitude, that just adds on to what we were dealing with outside. And I'm not saying that that's fair to you all. I'm not. I'm just saying we both need to have a better understanding of what goes on prior to that interaction. That's all I'm saying. Moving on. Final question, and this is a big one. I mean, I don't know how it's going to go. I'm going to ask it. As a single parent, who's better equipped to raise kids, men or women? Explain why.
Let me speak on that. I think it depends on the stage of life. You understand what I'm saying? I think at certain ages, you need your mother more. At certain ages, you need your father more. So, of course, the infancy to, I don't even know what age children are more attached to their mother. So you can't really just answer that question like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just different stages, different phases. I know my oldest is 14. If she was a boy at this time, she probably would be with her father, you know, but she's a girl, so she's with me. But I'm adult enough to know if she's 14 and she was a young man, she would be with her father.
Thank you, great answer. Lord Jesus, thank you for saying that. Lord, if you hear that, because that is, I think that is super important. Most women don't see it that way. They're like, "This is my child, this is my baby."
So hold on. At what age, Alexis, would you say if you had a son, at what age would you say would be appropriate for him to go with his father?
Maybe about 12 years old.
At 12?
About 12. Preteen.
You don't think that's a little late? And the only reason I say that because I'm dealing with this now. I got my son full time and he's 14. A lot of things in his personality formed early on around 6 and 7. And I'm just gonna give you a scenario. And this is funny. It's kind of cute, I guess. I walked in his room, and he was about 6 years old, and he was watching Doll Babies. And I said, "What are you watching?" And he told me Doll Babies, it's a cheerleading show. And I said, "You like this show?" He said, "This is my favorite show." I said, "Well, who watches this show outside of you?" "Well, my mom and my sister watch this show." And I knew right then, I said, I need to be more involved. He really, at this point, I think he should be with me because he's not seeing me on a day-to-day basis. He's seeing me on the weekends. He's starting to develop habits based on what he's seeing every day. And that's no knock against her or his sister, but this was his everyday example. And I'm seeing that now with just how he deals with stuff, things he talks about. We just had a conversation. He went to his first high school football game. They had a homecoming game. And I was just messing with him about how to interact with girls. And he's clueless. I mean, even though he grew up in a house full of women, he's clueless with how a man should interact with women. And we've had discussions, but it's hard being a weekend father versus a father that is with his son every day. And I'm not saying, you know, there's a right or wrong answer. I just basically wanted to understand why you said.
I think it's a blessing that he's like that. I mean, you didn't know how to interact with women at his age, and hold on, notice there's no shade. You maybe still don't know how to. You understand what I'm saying? So I think it's a blessing.
That's fair.
That, you know, like he gets different facets of things. This world is not what it was when you're younger. And to speak to the point of the question about men and their insensitivity, this is making him more sensitive. Now, on the back end, you can come in and tighten up on some things, but I think in those formal years, he might need that sensitive side of things. I don't see anything wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? But you're such a, like, some guys are so man, you know, and I think that's kind of what's wrong with the world a little bit. So I think it's
spoken like a true mom.
Yeah.
So no, I say this to say, don't you think at 14 they already have pretty much, like, I know based off of me being in my my older son's life, he's my stepson too. I came in his life at 8, and it's pretty much he had already formed his personality, and it was a struggle to try to get him to see, you know, certain things you can't do, certain things you know, you need to operate like this in certain arenas. It was a struggle to get him to see that, because he had basically been around his mom for 8 years, and this is who he was. So that's the only reason I said that. Like at 6 and 7, they're still learning. Like right now, just having discussions with my 14-year-old, I'm realizing that, and he even said it. He said it last night, as a matter of fact. Being that I grew up with my mom, I missed out on a lot of things that I needed from you, Dad. He said that, just being with her 24/7 versus being with you. So, and I'm not saying that any answer is right or wrong here. I'm just trying to understand your insight when you say 12 years old.
It's situational, and like again, I had a girl. I didn't have a boy. So I think if you pay attention to your child in the home and you notice certain things, or he might even, if she was a boy, might vocalize, "I want to be with my dad." You know, it's a conversation with these kids too. They have input. We're not just parents making all the decisions. You know what I'm saying? So it's situational. It's up to the child. But as a mother, just to answer the question, I feel like if the man was willing to be there, if it was a male, then yes, he should do a lot of the upbringing towards the end, you know, not the end, but, you know, in the middle.
No. Yeah, I got you. Terry, go ahead, Ben.
Well, you can go ahead and Terry and then come back to me and we can.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I definitely want to hear what you got to say.
You know,
I definitely want to hear Terry.
When you ask the question,
that's your brother. That's your brother.
That's your brother. Yeah, that's your brother.
Okay, so when you were asking the question, I was trying to think in my head what age, and it's funny that I thought the same age as Alexis, and I think because when I look back at my son, I think that would probably have been the year where, or that time frame where he needed to have his father more involved. The difference is I can't really say the difference because his father wasn't there. So I don't know. But my opinion would have been the same age.
And what was that age again?
Well,
it was about 12.
Let me interject if you finish, Terry.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I think I agree with y'all. And the reason why I say this is because the last time I got my butt whooped by my dad was at 12. But at that point, it's like it's a turning point where the child starts to change from that young kid that's like, you know, just happy-go-lucky, innocent, to that young preteen that's starting to get involved in a lot of stuff that he shouldn't be getting involved in. You know, not to say that you can't be involved in their life, but it's essential. It's essential that you turn him to that direction where he need to go as a man, if it's a man child, to where he need to be. You know, I agree, you know, because this when he really started thinking about girls, you know, what he thinks about life, you know, not so much, you know, the toys that's starting to dissipate. You know, maybe the sports are starting to be a little more thought in his mind about that or whatever. Just doing kind of boy stuff, you know, boy man stuff or whatever, you know.
You know.
Can I say this?
You go ahead, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I would say that it's no right or wrong in this because they just need both of them, man. It's like, on a real note, man, like, say, for instance, the child don't know how to fish, the dead fish. Child don't know how to work on cars. Mom ain't gonna work on cars. Child don't know how to cut grass. Moms don't cut grass. Now, you know what I'm saying? You need both of them to get that certain thing out of them, especially like, you know, to toughen up or how to deal with other guys or don't let somebody take your stuff from you. It's like the mom got the sense. It's like both of them work hand in hand.
But what we're saying in the situation where you
who gonna raise the
both
best
full time.
I know should it be the single parent, but that's why I say it makes it hard. I can't say now. I'm gonna say this one thing.
You got to choose one.
Yeah,
because there's a custodial parent that we're talking about.
right. This we're not
I
saying
know it's
nobody's
hard,
right or
but
wrong.
I'm gonna say that. But this is what I was gonna end it with. This is what I'm gonna say. This is what I was gonna say. Now, Big Mama, back in the days, had all that because she could raise. Big Mama back in the days, the big Mama, she knew how to raise each one of them because she had. I done seen Big Mama now know how to straighten Charles out, one harder than the dad, and I know a Big Mama could go ahead and do the daughters. Big Mama's taught all her kids how to cook. Big Mama made the boys go do the trash. Big Mama made chores. She made them cut the grass. I mean, because maybe she didn't have that man. Them women back in them old days could have them kids in order doing everything.
But this ain't Big Mama's day no more.
No.
But then it's hard to say right now. That's why I say I can give it to a woman that got the morals in it. I can give it to
Big Mama is gone.
Yeah, Big Mama's gone.
Big Mama gone, and Big Mama was home too. So what I'm gonna say, let me tell you what
it's just too hard to say, man, for me.
All right, go ahead, Big.
Big
I wanna hear
got
what-
it.
Big got it.
This is what if you got a boy, my belief is that at the earliest 7, at the 8, at the latest 9. And let me tell you why. And I know why mama's gonna feel the way they feel, because mamas, y'all just, touch it fairly. Where my heart at? There's my heart. There's for the mamas.
Does
But
he do this all the time?
because look, this is the thing. There are formative things that are happening at a boy in those ages. We wait to 12, it's too late. It's too late. 12 or 13, it's too late. The toolbox empty. See, by 12, I was cutting grass at 10 years old. There ain't a lot of mamas that's gonna teach that, perhaps. There may be some.
There's men who don't cut grass right now, who don't show their sons at 10 to cut grass.
That's their dilemma, and they're lacking. But there's things that boys need. When he don't need to be showing up at dad at 12 or 13. He need a toolbox at 13, because when that hormone switch it flips. And you ain't necessarily in your rational mind no more. So you need to be equipped to be able to deal with that. And dad can give you things. Mama can't give you the things that dad can give you. If we talk about, if there's an option for that, is what we're talking about. We're talking about a healthy, whole father where he can come in. And I ain't saying that, mom just completely absent, but I really believe that during that period, that's the period where the son needs to be around dad and be heavily involved with him, moving with him and learning what it is to be a man and some of the things that need to be done so he can fill that toolbox up.
Cool. Before I hand it over to Raymond, I'm just going to say this. I think it's important that both parents have their imprint on the child. The ideal situation will be a joint parenting situation in my mind. I do think early on as an infant, they should be with their moms. I mean, that bonding period from pregnancy to delivering is, a child needs that. I firmly believe that. I do agree with Big. Those years are vital, for a male and for a female. My daughter learned a lot from me as far as being able to interact with the opposite sex and making decisions, the correct decisions with a lot of things and that support. But if parents aren't together and they can come together on joint parenting, that would be the ideal situation. That's just my personal belief. This has been a great show. I appreciate you ladies for joining. I'm going to turn it over to Raymond so he can sum everything up at this point.
Bro, you summed it up very well, man. All I need to say is one thing. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Get established.
This has been, once again, the Get Established Show. We thank you so much for tuning in. We ask you to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We'd like to get more of this great information, these great commentary. Today's show was all about. Well, about a lot of things, because the conversation expanded. It was about who would be the best to raise a parent, mother or father. And I think we got a lot of good chocolate information in there. But with that being said, we want to thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for the ladies for being on. And until next time, thank you for coming on the show.
The banana. Where's the banana? Thank you. Give it to mommy. The monkey eats bananas. Good job. Can I have them?
No.
Okay. Can I have them?
No.
Okay. Where is the ball? Good job. Where is the dog? Good job. Where is the frog? Good job. Where is the plane? Good job. Where is the hat? Where is the baby? Where is the cat? Uh-oh. Where is the lion? Where is the elephant? Where's the elephant? Amara, look, where's the... Good job. Where is the pig? What sound does a pig make? Good job. Where's the cow?
Cow.
What sound does a cow make?
Moo.
Good job.